Well, good afternoon. This is Chapter 7, 7-1, Percents and Fractions. So if you haven't already reset your notebook for Chapter 7, please go ahead and do that now, starting on a fresh page. And we're talking about percents and fractions. So percent, as you can see, is a ratio that compares a number to 100. That's what we have to make certain we always remember, is that it is always compared to this number 100. So 75% is 75 out of 100, or 75 100ths. Okay. Think of a test score. That's one that obviously we're pretty familiar with, and comparing with our percentages. Percents can also be greater than 100. So that's something you need to remember as well. For example, if you get a bonus question correct on that test and you get all of them correct plus the bonus, you could get 103 or 104 or 5%. You can also get 400, for example, 426%, which simply means that, for example, 1 year, maybe you earned $1,000 in 2011, and in 2012 you ended up making $4,000. Well, the increase is that you not only made the $1,000, but you made 4 times that amount. Okay, so that would be the 400 times larger, so you made that much more, 4 times that amount. If it was 200%, you would have made double that amount. If it was 300%, you made 3 times that amount, and so forth. So that's where we're coming up with the 426, and it's still compared to 100, because again, 100 means one whole. And for 426, you could simply write it again in simplest form by reducing that and saying 100 goes into 400, 4 times 26 left over out of 100, which reduces to 13/50ths. Okay. So if you have not hit pause to copy this down, please do so. Now we're going to try a few, and it says write each percent as a fraction in simplest form. So for the first example, I'm going to let you hit pause and go ahead and solve that. So go ahead and do this. So if you struggled with this, again, you simply take 15%, which means you got 15 out of 100 on that test. And you would then simplify it. Well, we're going to look at our last digits, and it's a 5 or a 0, so we're going to divide by 5. And we get 3, and then 100 divided by 5 is 20, and 3/20ths is in simplest form. That's all you have to do for percents, writing them as a fraction. So let's look at our next one. Go ahead and solve this. So we get 180 out of 100, because again, it always is over 100. And we can simply divide this if you like, to where you can do the long division. And how many 100s in 180? Well, there's 1, which is 100. Subtract, and you get 80 left over. Nothing to bring down because we're going to write this as a fraction. So you get 1 and 80 100ths. We're going to divide this by the greatest common factor, which is 20. And so we get 1 whole, and then divide this, and we get 80 divided by 20 is 4, and 100 divided by 20 is 5. So we get 1 and 4/5. And many of you probably looked at this and said, well, how many 100s are in 180? And you got your 1 whole, and then the 80 100ths from there. Most of you are at this point able to go from here to there. Okay? So 1 and 4/5 is my equivalence to 180%. Now it says write each fraction or mixed number as a percent. So now we're going to go the other direction. So what we have to realize is that we're going to make this equal to a number over 100. We have to make it over 100. If we make it over 100, then we're going to very easily be able to determine the percent because the numerator will be the percent. So to do this, we simply take 5 times 20 gave me 100. So 2 times 20 gives me 40. And since it's 40 over 100, anytime the denominator is 100, then that percent is going to be the numerator. 40% is my answer. Let's try the other one. Go ahead and solve letter D. So we're going to take this and make it equal to, again, a number over 100. It's kind of like proportions where we would put the variable up here. But we don't have to do that. We can simply say 20 goes into 100 how many times? Well, 20 times 5 gives me 100. So 9 times 5 gives me 45. Therefore, my percent is the numerator, so 45%. And please make sure you put the percent sign on that number because that absolutely changes the value. So let's look at our last problem. And it says write a percent to represent the shaded portion of each model. So the shaded percent, again, how many blocks do we have shaded? Well, there are 4. Out of how many total do we have? Well, you can count them all up, or you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 5 times 4 is 20. Okay? Or you could have simply went through and counted all of those up. So now, since we are trying to write a percent, some of you might say, well, we need to reduce this. Well, you don't want to reduce it because we're trying to make it bigger. We're trying to make it equal to a number over 100. So how did 20 become 100? Times 5. So 4 times 5 is 20. And again, any number over 100 is the percent. So we get 20% for my answer. So take a look at what we have here today. If you have any questions or concerns, something that does not make sense to you, certainly ask those questions tomorrow in class. And hope you have a great evening, and we will see you tomorrow.